Welcome to another episode of Discog Discourse. On this one, we're going to be ranking and reviewing every Wage War album. My name is Nathan, and with me are my co hosts Kyle and Jeff. Guys, I hope you're excited because I think it's going to be a good one. How are y'all feeling?
I'm very excited for this. Wage War has had kind of a big impact on my journey into metalcore and screaming music. And so I'm excited to give them their flowers where they deserve it and maybe some criticism where they deserve that as well.
What? Criticism? For
I know, it's
Wage
hard to believe.
War?
Wage
No.
War is a perfect band, a perfect discography. They've never taken a wrong turn, and they've always done the right thing. So I'm very excited to lock in on this, fellas.
All right, that's the episode. Thanks for listening. And we'll see y'all on the next one. Yeah, high highs and low lows. So it should be an interesting discussion. I do also want to take a moment to fact check myself because in the last episode, I made the bold claim that I haven't said an album is perfect since the Avenged Sevenfold episode, and that is a lie. And it makes sense that neither of y'all called me out on that because it was actually in the System of a Down episode that I did with Kevin from Pulses and Benny from Avoid. I did say Mesmerized was perfect, and I stand by that. But it makes the claim from my last episode a little less grand and spectacular. So just wanted to set the record straight there. Apologize to you guys for discrediting our show and apologize to all the listeners for the misinformation that I'm spewing. So guys, I hope you can forgive me for that, and that we can continue on with this podcast and have a good episode here tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the journalistic integrity you would expect with Discourse at this point. So thank you for that, Nathan. We do forgive you.
I appreciate that. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to go forward with this program if I didn't get that off my chest. So I appreciate you guys receiving that with open hands and open hearts and open minds. What's y'all's relationship with this band? Jeff, you said you got into them and they were pretty pivotal in your journey into heavy music. Around when was that?
It was around 2016 when you guys were kind of introducing me to heavier music, and Blueprints was one of the first real heavier albums that I listened to fully, and I just fell in love with it from there. And it was kind of a springboard for me to get into even heavier music after that. It's hard to believe it's been 11 years now since that album came out.
Gosh,
I can't. Unreal, but definitely formative for me.
That really feels crazy because I think Blueprints especially was like very similar for me. Like I was getting into heavier music around that time, and I actually remember when the singles for that album like started coming out because I would like scour the Rise Records YouTube page and like listen to everything they posted. And I remember being pretty excited for that when it came out. And so to have that be over 10 years old now, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is actually crazy. Very formative album and band for sure.
Yeah. For me, it's honestly, they weren't super pivotal for me, but they are a cornerstone, I feel like, of the genre of metal. And I definitely was listening to them in 2016, 2017 as well.
Yeah. The olden days. I think that makes us old heads.
Hell yeah.
But I don't want to dilly-dally too much because I think we got a lot of music to talk about tonight. So I'm going to plug the social media. We'll do our shout outs and then we'll get into it. So if you want to join the discourse, you can follow us on Twitter at Discog_pod, on TikTok at Discog Discourse, and on Instagram at Discog.Discourse. We also have a Patreon for anyone interested in supporting the show. You'll get bonus episodes like the one we'll be releasing alongside this, where we come to a consensus on the top 10 songs for whatever band we're covering. You'll also be able to vote on what band we cover when we don't have guests. And as you'll hear later, our second tier donors, our diehards, can read off their rankings on the show. Also, if you could leave us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening on, that would help us out a lot. Also, I do want to mention that YouTube, especially on mobile, maybe only on mobile, has a new feature called Hypes, which is like specifically designed to boost smaller creators in the algorithm or something like that. So if you could leave us a hype, it's just one more thing that we're asking you to do. So that's super awesome. Thanks, YouTube. And as always, we do have some shout outs that we want to take a moment to highlight here. If you want to shout out, all you got to do is leave a comment on Spotify or YouTube or quote tweet our rankings. And this first one is from Daniel M. Leonard over on Spotify. They said, the night God slept slanderer will not be tolerated. Seriously, though, even though my least favorite Silent Planet album, Iridescent, is well made, uh, super excited for the next one based on the singles. And I gotta be honest, I don't remember that much the Night God Slept slander in our episode. I think we said maybe it's not their best, but it's still really good, right? Like, am I
Yeah,
forgetting something?
it didn't steal the show
Mm,
in a way that some others had, and I think that that's probably what rubs people the wrong way is that when we don't talk so much about their very favorite, they don't get super they get a little bit upset, which I understand, but I feel like we had pretty high praise other than that. It was just clearly kind of a debut LP.
hmm I think so too. I think we were pretty high on Silent Planet as a band, and the very nature of this show is something's got to be last. This next one is from John, also over on Spotify. This was a bit of a longer comment, but I love it. They said, finally, an episode about Silent Planet. My personal ratings is last to first. Everything was sound. I love this record and hate to put it this low. Yeah, that's wow. When the end began, the night God slept, Super Bloom, and Iridescent. And then they go on to say, Iridescent was my intro to the band. I first found him when Terminal was released, and I was hooked. Super Bloom definitely has a special place in my heart. I've got Super Bloom themed tattoo on my arm. That is awesome. But I got to say that everything that was sound last is crazy. Uh, Perhaps I could even say that everything with sound slander will not be tolerated.
Yeah, at the bottom, that's hard. That's hard to understand.
And this last comment is from Bugga Ray Dudley over on YouTube. They
That's
said,
that's a great tag.
I do like shouting these out because the names are sometimes really funny. Anyways, Bugga says, saw them for the first time in the Bloomin' Heaven tour in Minneapolis. Garrett immediately after the set went into the crowd and hugged, talked to everyone individually for like a minute or two each. Seems like such a nice guy. Was able to tell him I love his writing and their music. Was a special night, and the collab EP with Animate was so unexpected and cool. And can confirm Garrett does seem like the best to ever do it from a lyrical perspective, but also seems like just such a great guy. Loved having him on the show. Loved every interaction I've ever had with him.
Agreed.
Awesome. Well, that's that on the housekeeping. And so we're going to go ahead and get into this. We got 5 albums to cover tonight. And Jeff, we'll have you lead the discussion on this one. And if this is your first episode, the way this is going to work is Jeff's going to lead the discussion, and we'll go through his list from his least favorite to his favorite. And as he reveals albums, Kyle and I will also reveal where they are in our list, and we'll have a cohesive discussion about what we like, what we don't like. So, Jeff, I'll send it over to you. What is your least favorite Wage War albums?
Albums.
Well, I was gonna say there are a couple that I could see this being in the number 5 spot. So I was thinking of multiple albums, but I held my tongue and it still came out wrong. I don't know if there is a clear one, to be honest.
I feel like there is.
Oh, I think so.
I think there are 2 that could easily go here.
Well, yeah, and actually, before we start, I will actually be surprised if one of us doesn't have the exact same list.
Oh, me
I think
too.
that it's very possible at least 2 of us has the exact same list.
Well, and I think this is going to be the deciding factor in that. I think the 4 and 5 spot are going to be like the make or break time for identical lists.
Yeah. And we'll see what happens.
So pressure's on, Jeff. What do you got?
Oh, pressure, you say? No, I'm just joking. Not yet. Not yet. No, I'm faking it. Nope. Not going to do it. I got Stigma. Their 2024 LP at the bottom.
Yeah, no, I do agree.
Yep, same.
Has to.
Fellas, we've done it. Let's go home.
Yep. All right. Perfect list. Let's go.
Yeah, I had this album as my least favorite album of 2024.
Oh,
when it came out. That was this album. And in retrospect, I don't know if this deserves that much hate as being like the worst album of the year in the entirety of the metal scene. But I think why I put it there was a gut reaction to how far I feel like Wage War has fallen since they released Blueprints 11 years ago. And going back and listening to this album again, I can certainly see why I felt that way 2 years ago. I'll just say this album is very disappointing. It relies far too heavily on kind of this modern dance pop electronic elements that I just don't think fit Wage War very well.
Mm-hmm.
And this album has a tendency to do that terrible, I'm too cool for this spoken word cadence in a lot of the songs, which I absolutely hate and I think is terrible. And I don't know why they started doing that. I think it started in Manic. And
Mm-hmm.
I just absolutely hate that vocal delivery. And I don't know why they continue to use it. It's not cool. But to me, this album feels like they're really, really searching and really trying to get the next big arena hit banger that's going to be played at the Super Bowl next year. You know, that those kinds of songs, like the big anthemic. It has, you know, the clapping, the crowds in it.
We're gonna play the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. The riffs are so generic. You know, on every Wage War album, I have to say the screaming performance is always usually pretty good. I think on this one, it's the worst that it's ever been.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
feel like in
really?
many places.
I just
Yeah.
feel like it's not really present. Like I feel like the moments when he does scream, I feel like it's really good, and it makes me feel like we're missing out. Like it shows the potential that we could of what we could be getting, and that's one of the things that honestly makes me sad about this album. But like even in the breakdown and the show's about to start, like those highs he's hitting, I'm like, dang, that's pretty sick. That's pretty solid. Like those are some good screams, and I think that's like one of the maybe the only thing that you can't knock this album for is the screaming.
No, and you know, Tombstone, for example, has some
Yeah.
nice screaming performances. It's pretty heavy. The last 40 seconds of that song is actually my favorite part of the entire album, where kind of you get that riff switch.
Yeah.
I really like that portion. You know, he says, "You tell him I'm coming, hell's coming with me." It's like da 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 da. That part's cool. That's memorable. That's reminiscent of old Wage War, but that's about as far as it goes. And then you know, you get a song like Nail 5, which, by the way, I'm going to call it Nail 5. I'm not calling it Nails. It's Nail 5. That is like the worst of the spoken word cadence that I hate, where it's like, I'm too cool for this. I'm just going to say it because I'm edgy. And you're just going to have to deal with it.
But Jeff, do you get it? It's Nail 5, like 5 albums. Like it's their 5th album.
And if that's the real reason why they made it that, if what you just revealed is then that's the dumbest.
What else could it be?
Proves Jeff's point, which just to be like different. Ooh. Yeah, and it's the 4th track on the album. Why is it not making the 5th one?
That's a good point. It should absolutely be the 5th song. But I thought surely it's dumb, but like it has to be, right?
It's dumb, but like if they were trying to like do something there, like putting it in the middle of the album, and it's you know what I mean, like
yeah, and it's also weird. It's also weird that it wouldn't be like the title of the album. Like when I was putting our documents together to start this, before I wrote Stigma, I had Nail 5 because I thought that's what the name of the album was for a second. I had forgotten that it's actually called Stigma.
Yeah, I mean, in the lyrics in that song, it says like "dance on the grave, 5 nails in the casket." So I guess it's the final nail. It's essentially a way of them saying this is the final nail in the casket. You know, it's the 5th nail.
And I guess looking at the album cover, there are 5 nails.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's so stupid. Like and if I may, I don't mean to cut in line, but I mean it's just kind of how I feel about the whole album. It's just like it starts bad, it ends bad. Jeff, like you said, Tombstone is the only song with any real edge, but the fact that Tombstone is sandwiched between Blur and Happy Hunting means that it's not an album I want to listen to.
Blur,
like,
what do you mean? That's so
arguably
good.
The worst hook in the entire discography. You could make the argument.
I think there are maybe a couple other contenders.
I hate Happy Hunting as well. Just like it's the strobe light of dance beats just making me want to run my car off the highway when I'm listening to it. I couldn't stand being like, oh, whoa, a little bit of edge on Tombstone. Nice work, fellas. And again, like there's nothing special about Tombstone, but it just like this album is not an album that I want to listen to if there's like one song with some I don't know, like nostalgic moments on it for what I wish it Wage War still was. Yeah, I mean, it's just a collection of I don't even know what they were trying to do here. And
Yeah.
It's a great question.
yeah, the too cool for school feel, Jeff, I 100% feel as well. It felt like Asking Alexandria and Five Finger Death Punch towards the end there.
And like early Motionless in White, or not early Motionless in White, but like after Creatures, that little period they had there with what is that album called?
Don't know, but I agree.
Reincarnate? Is that what it's called? Yeah. Anyways, they're the not good era of Motionless in White between Creatures and the scoring the end of the world. Golly, my brain shut off there for a second.
It's been 4 years, guys.
Reincarnate
it's been 4 years. Yeah. 4 years of this show. Oh wait, next year it's gonna be Cog the 5 course.
Discog 5.
Yeah, you just changed the name on Spotify to Discog Discourse with all the S's being 5s.
Yeah. So stupid.
But yeah, I the industrial electro pop dystopian feel
well, you know what it kind of reminds me of? This kind of feels like Wage War trying to do like a Super Bloom or Antimatter kind of thing. Like there are moments on this album where I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna say they ripped off Silent Planet, but I think one of my main gripes with this album is it feels like there's some very obvious trend chasing happening on here. And that's one of the major things that sticks out. It's like the show's about to start has that pulsating bass line in the verses. Then the chorus is kind of a big metalcore riff drop. And then they bring in some more metalcore instrumentation in the next verse. And it just kind of builds that way. It's like, that's basically Antimatter, but like not nearly as good, obviously. It's like the Wage Warification of Antimatter, which is not a compliment. And to be clear, Antimatter came out a year before this and blew up. So it's possible they saw that and were like, oh, maybe we should dig more into the nu metal direction. And then, another thing it kind of reminds me of is, I look at a song like Self-Sacrifice or Nail 5, and those are very nu metal inspired tracks with the kind of low-tuned guitars and the low spoken word delivery that Jeff was talking about. And again, I look at that low tuning, the nu metal sound paired with the nails imagery on the album cover, and I can't help but notice it feels kind of familiar, looking at something like Gideon's More Power, More Pain, which also came out a year before this album. And so that it just all of those things together, individually, it's like, okay, yeah, nails imagery, Gideon doesn't own that. But when you look at like the low tuning, the nu metal influence, like, and also the nails, it's enough to raise an eyebrow. That's all I'll say. And I'm not saying they ripped them off, but it does certainly feel like some trend chasing, like looking around the scene, seeing what's kind of popular and being like, I mean, we could do our version of that. And I just think that's so boring and so uninspired and arguably shameless, because I look at this album then and I'm like, well, why would I want to listen to Wage War's version of that when I could go listen to More Power, More Pain by Gideon, or I could go listen to Super Bloom and have a much better listening experience than one good song, a bunch of radio metalcore, and whatever Blur is,
Yeah, that's a good point. And and I feel more so this way about my next least favorite album, but like it feels like a lot of these songs were just like written in a boardroom and
totally,
like just told like go do it because this is what's successful right now. And so I think you put that pretty well of like it really feels corporate and like they're trying to capture something that's
definitely
passed on.
And you look at like Cody from Wage War has had a pretty significant career, not only performing metalcore, but writing it. Like he's written a bunch of music for other bands. Like the Wage War guys have done stuff with A Day to Remember. And that's just one example of many, but Cody's had a very prevalent career in writing kind of radio metalcore. And so it's not surprising that, he saved some for his own band. It all just feels very, it feels like it's being ghost written, but the ghostwriter is actually just a part of the band here.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of an interesting thing. I will also point out this is also the only Wage War album that wasn't produced by Jeremy McKinnon of A Day to Remember, who actually, like,
Mm.
say what you will about A Day to Remember and where they are as a band. Jeremy's production discography is actually kind of insane because, you know, he's got all of Wage War minus this one, Life's Not Out to Get You by Neck Deep, Dead Throne by The Devil Wears Prada, a couple of the Ghost Inside albums. Like, his production is like usually pretty solid. So maybe there's something missing on this album, and maybe they were trying to do something different, going in this more new metal direction and working with a new producer. But I think that really just misses the mark. And I will also say, usually going like trying something, like trying a new direction, like new metal, that usually I find that to be more admirable than just like pure radio metalcore slop. But I do think the blatant trend chasing that I perceive on this album, to the point where I think I can like point to the direct influences, that undoes all of the good grace that trying something new would typically earn an album for me, which is why I have this below the true generic radio metalcore album that they released. So yeah, this album just is not very good.
Yeah, no, great points. And that's what I was thinking, because it almost feels like this album's trying to be unique. It's trying to be different, but it's just not. And I think you hit the nail on the head. No pun intended, Nathan.
Nail 5.
Yeah, no, I think you hit the fifth nail on the head there. So I appreciate it. I did just want to talk about maybe the other elephant in the room, which is I think Britain doing more of the hooks on a couple of the newer albums. I think he can do a good job with them sometimes.
I do too.
Magnetic is my favorite song on the album. And when he's going back and forth.
Really?
Yeah, it is. It's just so catchy. I mean, that's all I can say about it. I just can't get it out of my head sometimes. So that's all it takes to be the best song in this album. But when he's going back and forth with Cody, I think it works really well. I think their voices are distinct enough, and I think it's a good listen. But when you get a song like In My Blood, where he's singing the chorus, I don't think it's nearly as good. And so that's just another aspect there as well.
And it's so sad because that kind of goes back to like the wasted potential I was talking about, even with his screams. Like, Britton doing more clean singing could have been such a tool in this band's arsenal, but it's packaged in like the most generic and boring way that you could imagine. And so like this band has immense talent amongst their members. There's no doubt about it. Like, they can write great hooks. Britton's a great screamer. Cody's voice, even very good. We know the band has instrumental prowess. There's a world where they do a new metal thing and it's actually kind of cool. We do not live in that world. And it just is so unfortunate, all the wasted potential that I feel like Wage War has.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself.
It's
I
sad.
Agree. In My Blood has that cool swamp noise breakdown. So I thought that was a unique thing. I'll just shout that out.
Well, I do like the breakdown in the show's about to start that I think it's in the show's about to start. It's like very straight from the path with the crazy guitar sound effect. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, Self-Sacrifice has a cool breakdown too. Has like bells that come in. There's some cool moments on this, some flashes of that talent that you're talking about that's on here. I just wish they would execute it more fully. And
it feels like they're like half in, half out on like they want to try something cool, but they need the radio hits, and it's like they can't decide which way they want to go, and the end result is nothing.
Yeah, well, that's why the breakdowns always in the last 2/3 of each and every one of these songs feel so unearned, because it feels like they don't want to do the metalcore thing, but they still have to.
Well, and that's like they're just breakdowns that happen. Like there's no power. Every single breakdown, there's no power behind them, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm not looking forward to their next release. I'll say that. And if this was their last one, I would be okay with that. And like 10 years ago, I could not fathom me sitting here and be like, yeah, not excited for the next Wage War release.
No, that's
robbed.
Yeah. Oh,
maybe the greatest casualty of the Octane radio metalcore machine.
Certainly in my mind, the first example that comes to my head, like certainly the archetype
Mm.
The Architect.
Ooh.
They're up there too, though. But
Yeah, I mean, but not like
not
these
like
guys.
this,
Like these
though.
guys,
Not like
it
this,
felt like
though.
these guys were like finding their path and hitting their stride, and then they just got absolutely pummeled.
Well, yeah, no, it's like you look at the way Wage War came onto the scene, and it was like immediately they captured everyone immediately.
Yeah.
They came on as the class of the scene, and
Oh, totally.
Deservedly.
Yeah, and then they're like, you know what? Follow that up. Awesome. And then tripped and just ate it and have not stopped falling since. Anyways, we'll get to it.
Ugh.
We'll get to it.
Oh man. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's
Jeff,
Stigma.
take us to your number 4. Yep, that's Stigma. It's an album I've heard.
It exists. Okay. This might surprise you. But I'm gonna go for my number 4. I'm actually gonna go with their 2019 album Pressure.
Why would that surprise me? That's correct.
Oh, okay, let's go.
I do have Pressure at number 3.
Ooh.
But
I can see
man, it's
that.
a toss up. Like
Yeah.
in my opinion, it's 1A or 1B, and
Uh,
it's
I think Pressure and Stigma are at the bottom, and then
Yeah, I agree.
the third album is the third album, and then there's 2 really good ones.
Yep, that's how I feel.
I think that this what I'm trying to say, I feel like this is interchangeable with my 4, and I only have it here because of Low and
Yes,
Ghost.
fair.
I think
Yes.
that both of those songs are really, really good, and they
Agreed.
are downloaded to my playlist, which is
Ooh.
why it's number 3. Everything else is pretty soulless. I don't think they have any astounding choruses on this one. Actually, I think that their choruses kind of are drained of all emotion, and it feels more corporate than their 2 previous projects.
Yeah.
And it felt like towards the end of the album, especially, they just kind of mailed it in, especially when the outro is "Will We Ever Learn?" It's like,
That sounds
gosh, man,
so preachy.
it's a lot was left to be desired
Definitely.
on this one. I thought this was going to be a little bit higher, I guess I thought I was going to be a little higher on it while we were talking about it, because again, what sticks out in my mind is Low and Ghost and just some cooler instrumentals and production choices that they make. But I mean, it feels stale. Like Prison, Me Against Myself, Forget My Name are all just nothing burgers.
Yeah.
Where it felt like there was potential there in the recipe for the song, and they just kind of whiffed. So I feel like that's kind of what this album is to me. It's like you're following up to, in my opinion, very strong projects, and you drop a single like Low, and then you just whiff.
Yep. I have a lot of thoughts on this album because to me, this is like when I look back at like albums that I was excited for but ultimately disappointed by, this is like one of the first ones that comes to mind, because like this is the exact moment that Wage War went from that band with all the potential, the sky is the limit for this band, to just octane radio bait metalcore. Like they went from arguably generic in the best possible way, like just doing standard metalcore really well, to generic in the worst way, like just doing the worst, most bare bones version of the genre. And I think this is the album where Britton starts doing a little more singing, and I can hear the potential there. I'm like, yes, this could have been so good. This could have been such a good tool in their belt, because he has like, his singing is more mid-range than Cody's like high end. And so it could have been a great middle ground between like Britton's low screams and Cody's high singing. Like it would be such a good tool for them. But there's just nothing interesting happening on this album. It's just so apparent that their goal on this album was to try and take that next step into just a massive popularity, like Bring Me the Horizon level popularity, which, Wage War isn't unique in trying that. A lot of bands have gone that direction. And I think you can really hear it in a song like Grave, which just sounds like such a cheap imitation of, Sempiternal, That's the Spirit, arena friendly metalcore. with like some electronic direction thrown in there. But I think the problem with this album is in trying to get to that next step in popularity, they totally sanitize and scrub their sound of basically anything that made it enjoyable. Because, you know, you look at the riffs on this album and they're so simple on the whole. Lowe's a standout, but even in like the riffs in that are very architects coded, actually, now that we bring them up. But on the whole, like you get maybe one or two riffs in a song, and instead of the song being dynamic and introducing new riffs throughout it, it's just kind of very formulaic: verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, and then repeat the same riff for the drop, which is like a telltale sign of radio metalcore. And that's such a shame, because part of what made early Wage War so good is just the way that they would cram their songs full of fun riffs and breakdowns that come out of nowhere mid-verse and stuff like that. And that's just so absent on here, and you can really feel it. Maybe a perfect example of that is Fury, which is supposed to be like a heavier, energetic track, but it has no energy because it's the same breakdown again and again and again, and it loses all of its impact, you know, by the second time you hear it. And so there's just such a massive overbearing sanitization of their sound on here. And arguably the biggest step back is the lyrics. And I'm not going to sit here and like pretend that Wage War was really ever elevated in their lyricism, but this is so bad lyrically. It's so shallow and vapid. Like, it's so bad.
Before, I feel like Wage War, they had simple lyrics, but it never really took away from the songs. I feel like with this album, the lyrics are so bad, it starts to actually detract. You know, so, and that's not where you want to be.
Out.
Yeah,
you like hear it and you're like, what?
Yeah, you don't want your bad lyrics to be noticeable to the point that it starts to take away from the music. And that's what happens here, unfortunately.
It stands out a lot. I mean, like, I have some of my favorite examples in front of me right now. Forget My Name. They repeat "The enemy wants me dead" like 6 times in 9 lines. Like they think they're Memphis Mayfire or something. Like, that's terrible. Like, oh, it's so bad. Me Against Myself. Had a talk with myself. Try to smile and wish me well. Feel like I'm a broken shell. Hard to lie when you're overwhelmed. It still hurts when you're already numb. Every walk becomes a run.
You know, like, it's impressive that they didn't have AI write this stuff.
Honestly,
like, it's impressive that they didn't use AI for this, since it was probably a little too old for that.
I was thinking that. It sounds AI.
Well, that's because it's like the most generic, trope-ridden lyricism you could imagine. Like, it's like, it really is like, hey, ChatGPT, write me an AI song. Oh, it's hard to smile when you're overwhelmed, when you're caught in the undertow. Like, yeah, it's just nothing. Lowe's not excused from this conversation. You don't know Lowe like I do? Like, come on. It's pretty bad.
But you don't know Lowe like I do, bleh. I mean, come on.
Yeah, come on, dude. In my opinion, if we're talking baseball, that's a double, maybe an RBI single. Most of the album, whiff strikeout, but that one,
that's true.
It's a double through the gap.
That's fair. I think maybe the funniest lyricism on the album. This album maybe has the only example I can ever think of a preemptive, our fans don't like us because we're not heavy anymore, with Who I Am. Like, they're like, hey guys, when you hear this album, remember, we're human and we don't owe you anything. You know, I'm not just alive for your amusement. Like, you don't know who I am, actually. And I think that being the opening track on the album is like cosmically funny. Like, they were trying to get ahead of it.
That is hilarious. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It's so funny. This would be last if Stigma didn't have like the obvious trend chasing. Like, this has trend chasing too, but it's not as gross. It's just generic and soulless.
Yeah, I mean, this would be last for me if it didn't have Low and Ghost. Like Kyle was saying, those are the 2 songs that I really like on here. Yeah, Nathan, I mean, both of you, I couldn't agree more. This album is just filled with questionable production decisions, like on Prison, where it has that like Oh, I'm sorry, Grave, where it has that EO, like high pitched vocals in the verses and it's echoing and it just sounds bad. And I don't like
Yep.
it. And it's just so questionable. Like, why is that there? I don't understand. In Prison has like the eerie background singing and weird gang chants. The whole album is just filled with things like this.
Yeah.
The verses are weak, Nathan, like you were pointing out with the lyrics. The choruses are so bland and repetitive. Unearned breakdowns and heavy moments throughout. This is like the worst of the last minute breakdown thrown in there to appease the heavy fans. Album it would probably be, win the gold medal in that if there was an Olympics. And this album, it just doesn't have a lot going for it. And I'm not a fan of a lot of the music. It really feels like this is where the wheels came off. And I know we were talking about that. And I remember when Low came out, Kyle, I was so hyped for this album.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was so excited because I was like, this is some good stuff. This is great.
Well, it's like the most classic Wage War song on this album. And I feel like I remember them talking about it somewhere. Like, that was the first song they wrote after Deadweight. It's like, yeah, I can tell. I can tell.
You can hear it.
Yeah.
It still has some of that energy and that passion behind it. It really does.
If Low weren't on this album, it would be close between Pressure and Stigma.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Like that, and that just shows how just like put your head in your hand and just like, come on, guys. I know you got it in you.
Yeah.
I know you can do it. Come on.
Yeah.
You're not even trying to do something creative and different here. You're just
No. They were trying to take the next step in popularity. They took out all the edge in an attempt to like make it more accessible, and the result is maybe one of the most soulless albums I've ever heard. It's bad.
Yeah, I can't believe Take the Fight exists. I mean, it's so clear where they wanted that to be played.
I think Me Against Myself is probably the worst song on here. Like, just the lyricism in that is so bad, and the song is so boring. Like, yeah,
it's so forgettable.
So in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
Only memorable for bad reasons, and that's the lyricism.
Right.
It's, yeah.
Oh, Pressure.
Not good.
Well, nope.
It's making me feel a little crazy.
I'm starting to get a little crazy myself, actually.
Oh, a little.
I'm starting to feel a little 2021 Wage Wars album Manic, actually, for the number 3 spot.
Ooh, me too, I think.
what? Dude, this is I'm just kidding. I
wasn't fooled.
That's just a classic Discog Discourse bit we do sometimes.
Nice.
That's the camaraderie. That's the showmanship you get after 4 years.
The show's about to start, baby.
Yeah, you do a little pump fake that faked out nobody in the entire arena. Just say, guys, don't worry about it.
Guys, don't worry.
Is this album generic?
Yes.
It is. But is it well produced? Yes.
Yeah.
Does it sound good to my ears? It sure
Sometimes.
does. It does, except for like the last 4 songs.
And a couple throughout before that.
Yeah.
It's fine. Don't worry about it, dude.
Obviously far more melodic, focused on safer metal. Again, even I would argue less safe than Pressure, but definitely still safe. I think they do take some more risks on here, which is kudos to the album.
Well, it has a personality. There's like a distinct sound to it.
Yeah, and I would say you arguably have the strongest choruses in the discography on here too. I mean, there were some really, really good cleans and hooks on this album, and there's a really good stretch too.
Okay, let's pump the brakes a little bit, buddy. Let's pump the brakes.
Circle the Drain to Slow Burn.
Mid, good mid.
What?
I mean, I don't know. Circle the Drain, Forgettable Radio Metalcore, Godspeed. I don't even know. Let me see what my note is on that song. Forgettable Metalcore 100%. Death Roll is like comedically heavy. Like that main riff with the pinch harmonics is so funny, but like that is a great song. Lots of energy.
Yeah.
Borderline vintage Wage War. And then Slow Burn is like perfectly inoffensive, middle of the road radio metalcore.
Yeah, I was just on mute, but Jeff, when you said a great run of songs and you started with Circle the Drain, I did say that is not a good start. for a really good stretch, Circle the Drain is not not what I would consider a good stretch. But
Now, if we're going to compare it to the two albums we just talked about, then maybe that's a
Yeah,
good stretch. But
exactly.
a good stretch in the genre, I don't know
no,
about
a good stretch of thoroughly uninteresting medley of songs that
that.
don't do much for me and is just again them kind of like shoving songs into an album instead of like making a holistic album, then maybe,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that this album and those songs in particular is slower, safer Wage War at its best. And if that's the best we're gonna get right now, then that's what I'm gonna say are good. That's good music. you know, I
Okay.
think
Well, I think you're lowering your standard for what good music is. That may be the best we get from Wage War, but that I think that, I don't think that's saying
it's
too
good
much.
Wage
That's
War
a really low
songs.
bar.
I mean, compared to Stigma, compared to Pressure, like we were saying, that's good Wage War right there. And I would say Teeth, one of the better songs in their discography, in my opinion. High Horse too.
High Horse is good. I'll give you High Horse.
Yeah, there's a series of good songs on here, and they're all very well produced. I think this album just sounds good in total. So that's why I don't have it as low as Pressure or Stigma. Because there's a decent amount of songs on here that I like, and they're well produced, and a lot of the questionable production decisions on those two albums aren't really found here.
I will give you, I do think this is a slight rebound after Pressure, by no means bouncing back to where they were before Pressure, but, it certainly feels like a better middle ground between like shameless radio metalcore and the heavier sound they had on earlier albums. But I still think it does suffer from some of the same problems as Pressure. Like, I still think this is generally speaking closer to radio metalcore than anything else. You don't necessarily have a whole lot of interesting riffs. I mentioned Death Throll, which does have a really fun main riff and some fun moments throughout the song. And I would argue that's their best song since, Peak Wage War. A little groove, a little bounce in there. It has some bite and energy. But I still think like the best moments of this album are a far cry from Peak Wage War.
I think the production on this album is fine. I've
Mhm.
never been a huge fan of kind of the techno, watered down version of metalcore, and that's what I feel like the production feels like and sounds like. But yeah, it doesn't. There's not a song on here that captures me like Pressure. I'll give it to you that the production probably it is a little bit more explosive and dynamic than in Pressure.
Mhm.
But I just the collection of songs, I don't feel like there are the wins and the sales like obviously their first two projects and the two songs and Pressure that I talked about. It just
Yeah.
it feels like it comes and goes and didn't do much for me. But also like again, the kind of dystopian techno metal is not something that
Yeah.
I love to lean towards.
I think
Yeah, that's fair.
I think for me, the fact that this has, I would agree. I'm not a huge fan of Wage War's new metalcore kind of direction. I like new metal. I like new metalcore. I don't really like Wage War's version of it. I think there are some bands that do very well. I don't think Wage War is one of them. But, I go back to what I said earlier about a band trying something new. Even if I don't really like it that much, I will take that. I will take that swing and potentially swing and a miss over the safest, most bland, generic metalcore you could imagine. I do think Pressure has Low. It's really about it. I think there are a handful of decent songs on here. Like I think Relapse to open the album is pretty solid. Like song itself has more energy than almost the entirety of Pressure, barring Low. And I think you can hear it in Britain Screams. There's also some slightly interesting atmospheric stuff happening there with that breakdown with the alarm effect. It was pretty cool. It hit hard. I was like, okay, like it perked my ears up, which Pressure doesn't hardly ever. I think Teeth is fine, but I think the best songs on here are the heavier ones. We mentioned High Horse.
Yes.
Has some really cool riffs throughout it, has energy, maintains its momentum well, but I don't know if it has like the moment that elevates it. I think it does kind of lack like the big signature moment. But then Death Roll, I said it earlier that I do like that one. All the drops and breakdowns are super fun. It's got that guitar solo in there. And I'll say it again, the main riff with all the pinch harmonics is like so nasty, and
It's so memorable.
it's borderline hilarious is what it is. Like, if we're being honest, it's funny. Like, it's very After the Burial. I don't know if y'all have ever listened to them, but
Oh yeah, After the Burial. I was gonna say Sworn. It's like Sworn In. Like it's
oh yeah, I can see
some
that.
good stuff.
Which Sworn In is very like new metal, new metalcore, and so that comparison I think is pretty fair. And like, so for me to have 3 songs that I'm like, hey, that's pretty memorable and good, and plus, having a artistic direction and some level of personality, I'm like, yep, that's better than Pressure.
That's fair.
My one disappointment is the title track for a song that claims to be manic. It's not very manic. It's kind of forgettable and a little boring. And
It's got that low, gargly vocal delivery.
Where I'm
introducing new metalcore. I'm not screaming because that's not approachable or accessible.
I'm manic. I'm so different and crazy. I make music. You listen to it, peasant.
I think people might be able to listen to the more spoken word delivery a little easier than my screams.
Yeah, that song's a miss for me.
Yeah,
for me for sure. And then
but
I think
it does kind of embody like a lot of the direction that they're trying on this album. So I think it does make sense as a title track. It's kind of like, this is our new metal. This is our new metal stuff. I also hate the album cover for this album. I think it's so ugly. From a distance, my eyes always see springs and like gears popping out of this guy's head. But then when I look closely and see a person crawling out of it, it's very gross to me. I don't like it. It makes me feel weird.
Sometimes I think it's a baby. Sometimes I think the head is a baby's head. And that's what throws me off.
It's weird. There's something about it that isn't good.
I don't like it.
Oh, wait. I never noticed that.
I never noticed the dude coming out of his head, actually.
No, there are 2 of them. There are 2 dudes.
Yeah.
Look at the face at the bottom.
Oh, Inside
you, there are 2 wolves. But like the fingers
that's so
to me.
Manic.
Wow, so true. The fingers to me look like springs. So it looks like this guy's head is exploding and like the machinery of his mind is exploding out of it, which would make sense, given the album title. But then I look at it and I see the dude screaming. I'm like, ugh. It's off-putting.
Yick.
Also, it's just like a worse version of it's body horror. It's just a worse version of Knocked Loose laugh tracks,
True.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good album right there. Let me tell you something.
Great album.
So good. I love Knocked Loose. They don't miss. All they do is win.
Counting Worms is like one of my foundational metal songs.
It's so good. Oh man.
I remember hearing that and being like, I didn't know you could do that. Like that song feels like it breaks so many rules with like the length, anyways, it's
so good, man. You get that arf in there.
Yeah, it's it's crazy.
His screams, the tempo drop. It's so hardcore influence. It's the perfect blend of like hardcore and metalcore. Knocked Loose doesn't miss. I love them so much. Actually, let's just pivot right here and talk about Knocked Loose the rest of the episode.
Their new song is really good, and I didn't expect it to be that good.
The Denzel Curry feature is insane.
Yeah. I didn't expect it to be that good. Because whenever you get the collabs, like the cross-genre collabs, it's hit or miss, Totally. But I think this one, it really is good.
Every song we've made the most fun of in this show has been for rapping in a heavy genre song.
That is true. But they got a real rapper. They didn't get like Annie Mineo. They got a real rapper to come in.
That's a great point.
Dude, it's so good. And like as a fan of both artists, obviously, it is such a good collab. It just, gosh, man, Knocked Loose stays winning. They stay putting they are maybe the perfect ambassadors for heavy music because they have continued to find success without ever watering their sound down, arguably getting heavier and putting heavy music in front of audiences that wouldn't have heard it otherwise. And they're awesome. I love them. All right. Anyways, Wage War.
Shout out Knocked Loose. Okay.
Anyway, Manic.
It's a decent album. It's one that I may go back to for a few songs here or there, depending on if I want heavy or if I like some of the hooks. But that's about it, really. I probably wouldn't listen to it as a full project. And
Yeah,
that's about
I'll
it.
go out on a generous limb and say it's fine. As an
Yeah.
album, it's fine. It has a couple good songs, but I'm not like, man, you know what I want to listen to today? Manic. You know what Wage War I want to listen to? Manic. No,
No,
not
no.
Yeah,
interested.
it's like I said, for me, a nothing burger.
Totally. I
Just
get
not
it.
very
Yeah.
interested.
It wasn't in consideration for the worst album of the year,
No,
but it
it's not
was
that bad.
nowhere near consideration for the best. It was just a release.
Yeah, and one that I actually skipped initially. I actually, after Pressure, I did not listen to this album. So it was good to come back to it and finally give it a real listen.
I don't think I listened to it like on release either. It took like hearing some underground chatter of like, hey, there are a couple good songs on here. I was like, okay, I'll check it out. Fine. I wasn't going to because Pressure just burned me so bad.
Yeah, I was knocked off the wagon to the point where like I totally missed this release.
The wage wagon, the wagon
I was
war.
off the wage wagon war. And
Man, we're cooking this episode, dude.
multiple minute tangent about a completely different band and how good their new single is. In the middle of a conversation about an album that's not very good. Look, we had to find joy somewhere. We needed to talk about something to reinvigorate us.
Yeah,
In the midst of
something like mentally stimulating. I agree.
a new metalcore song that is very good. Like, talk about a shining example of like what new metalcore can be. Of course, it's Knocked Loose, which also, I'm getting back into it. What a cool way for them to like continue to expand not only the horizons of what their sound can be, but also like what hardcore and metalcore can be. Like, oh, it's so good. They get me so excited, man.
yeah, and we also have to find things to talk about during this segment because there's not a whole lot to talk about with Manic. So we have to pad the runtime a little bit.
Yeah.
We spent time on their album cover. All right, guys, what else? Knocked Loose dropped a track. Okay, nice.
Else this would be like a 30-minute episode. And
Okay.
Anyways, all right.
Let's talk about the good stuff.
Okay.
I'm done with Bad Wage War. I want to talk about good.
Gosh,
Wage
how is
War.
there only 2 good stuffs? That's like
Isn't that crazy?
that's the crazy
it's
thing,
depressing.
man.
But like
'Cause-
these albums are like peak good stuff.
Yeah, they're caviar. They're the best.
Yes.
At number 2, I have their 2017 album Deadweight.
Yeah. Yup.
Yup.
Jeff, welcome to the Twin List Club, baby. We're here.
Yeah.
I think it's the
This
first
guy-
time, Nathan, you and I have had a list
think
that
so,
shared,
too.
that were identical.
I think so,
Because
too.
Kyle and
This
I
is
have had
exciting.
one, but this is good
Mhm.
stuff. I'm excited about this. I'm fired up.
Me too.
Deadweight is a great album. It's a fantastic album. And as much as I love Blueprints, I would say that the first half of Deadweight, it competes. It lasts like a couple rounds in the ring with Blueprints for sure. And then by the second half of Deadweight, you start to kind of, he's starting to get fatigued a little bit. He's
It's
taking
starting
a few
to
more
feel
shots
those
here and
hits,
there.
you know?
Yes. Yeah. And so,
Because the back half of Blueprints, let's just, may I say, it is haymaker after haymaker.
oh, dude, it's I mean, the whole album is flawless.
Deadweight's
but
feeling it at this
it's-
point.
but that-
Deadweight's in the corner praying for that bell to ring.
But the back half of Deadweight is also very good. It's just not
it is good.
that good,
No.
We'll get there. I'm sorry. I pushed us ahead of ourselves.
No, but I think 2 years picks up exactly where Blueprints left off. Bro, the lyrics are a little corny, but I'm okay with it because there's energy behind it and it flows right into Southbound, which is just crazy
Yeah.
So
from
good.
beginning to end. And then you go right into Don't Let Me Fade Away, which is a great song both in the screaming performance, but also one of their best hooks in the entire discography. I know I said it a lot, but this
Very
is truly one
catchy.
of the best. So catchy. And then Stitch,
Yup.
which just starts with that
Yup.
whispered delivery at the beginning, and then it just blows up. It's such a fun song.
You know what? Actually, that might be the origin of the whisper spoken word thing for them.
Yeah, but it's not as unbearable.
But it's not. No, it's not. It's actually awesome. That's kind
Yeah.
of new metalcore coded in that song a little bit, but like
That's like
just
the
a
only
little bit,
part of
like
it.
a little whisper of it.
Yeah. but it doesn't have the delivery like it's too cool for you.
No,
You know,
definitely not.
it's like you feel like it's building up to something. He's like
Yeah,
whispering. It's just
exactly.
cool. It's better. They do it better.
It's actually good. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
actually,
it's a match striking. Like that's what it feels like. And there's about to be a damn explosion.
That's good imagery
Nice, Kyle.
and accurate.
Nice.
That's good.
Fellas,
But yeah, from 2 years to Deadweight, you get all the blaz, you get the breakdowns consistently. The screaming performance couldn't be better. The hooks all hit exactly when they should, and just break up the screaming just enough that when it comes back in with the breakdowns, it just feels all that much better. Gravity, I think, is a great breather in the middle of the album, and arguably their best softer song.
Yep.
Very, very catchy, very replayable.
Well, it's so funny because in like this era of Wage War, it's like they can't help themselves. Like they have this melodically driven song, but then there's also like a heavy breakdown towards the back of it. And it doesn't feel like the later albums where it feels unearned. It feels so true to who they are as a band at this point. Because that's what Wage War does. They throw in a breakdown and it hits hard. And so like it really feels like they can't help themselves, but in like the best way.
And then for me, it starts to get a little more rocky.
Jeff, you're spitting right now.
Because Never Enough, having a more clean focused, softer song wasn't really my forte at this point in the album listening experience.
Yeah, I think for me, like with the back half, because I fully agree. The first half of this album, just haymakers. The back half is really what kind of puts this in second. You know,
Yes.
starting at Never Enough, Indestructible, My Grave Is Mine to Dig. You know, we're starting to get some Wage War songs that, you know, maybe we're getting some sequelitis here. You know, for whatever reason, you know, it's still Wage War doing Wage War, but it's not as sticky. It's not as sticky anymore. Like there's something about these songs that don't feel as remarkable or memorable. And I think, you know, maybe it's the way the chorus sits in this song. I think it's Never Enough, or maybe it's Indestructible. The heavy moments are like top shelf, but the melodic sections feel kind of out of place and kind of hurt the momentum of the song. So you're getting these things where things aren't quite gelling as much as maybe they once did, but it's like kind of buried in the back half of this album.
yeah, Nathan, I think that's a good point because I think that applies to both Never Enough and Indestructible. It feels like the front half of the album, there is so much emotion and so much power just in that courses through each song. And it feels like there is an emotional drop off in a way of like, I feel that way in Never Enough and Indestructible, where it's just like another day at the office.
Yeah.
Where you don't get that feeling. But then I will say, and I hate to jump my turn, if you will, but I think Johnny Cash is a phenomenal closer. I
agree. I actually really like that song.
Like that song is such a beautiful, like just like it crescendos into just this large, and it's so out of character listening to that song because it doesn't feel like I'm listening to Wage War, like anything they've put out really. And they do such a good job of balancing this gigantic emotional chorus with some hard hitting pockets throughout.
Well, and I love the way that song inverts their usual formula. Like in that song, you're getting melodic, softer verses and a big, heavy, I guess you could say, chorus with the screaming, which is, you know, the opposite of what they usually do with the heavy verse and the catchy chorus. And it works so well because it blends those two sounds like seamlessly throughout the song. Unlike, you know, maybe some of those in the back half where it gets a little rocky, where you're starting to feel a little, this isn't quite gelling. You know, the melodic and the heavy aren't balancing as well as they usually do.
Yeah. I think Johnny Cash is a great song. And I love the way that the clean vocals kind of fade off for a second. And then the screaming comes in. It captures that emotion of loss in a great way. And I think they execute it perfectly in that song. And I think the stripped version is great too. So don't forget about the stripped version of Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash is doing what?
The Wage War song, Johnny Cash, is a stripped down version with the
Johnny Cash stripped down? He did what?
Headline. Discog Discourse talking about Johnny Cash doing what?
Discog Discourse exclusive. Johnny Cash stripped down?
Yeah, dude. That's in the Fulton County prison.
What?
The Fulton County Blues. Come on, Jeff. Keep up, dude.
Jeff, man, Johnny Cash reference. Come on.
Come on, Jeff. I told you I'm spitting
I'm
tonight.
not a big Johnny Cash fan. You've just outed me.
Jeff, just 5 minutes ago, you said you really liked Johnny Cash, and now you're saying you're not
Yeah,
a big
true.
Johnny Cash fan? What is it?
Or you're saying he was stripping in front of you. Now you're saying you don't like him. So what's the meaning of this? Anyways,
I'm gonna need you to get your story straight.
The problem with Indestructible is that it's literally just Don't Let Me Fade Away too. And I think whenever I get to it in the album, I'm like, I've heard this before. This exact same song. And it's because it's literally Don't Let Me Fade Away in almost every way.
That's what I'm saying with like the sequelitis thing. You know,
Yeah.
they're still doing their thing, but for some reason it's not hitting as hard. And I think it's because we've kind of heard it before at this point, you know?
Right.
Which is, you know, holding that tension there with me being like, oh, you know, it's more of the same Wage War. And then when they change their sound, it's like terrible. So it's like, what do you want? Do you want more of the same, or do you want a change in sound? I would like them to change their sound, but not in a direction that is shameless and soulless. Add something to it.
There's a way to be innovative
Yes.
while still retaining the core features of your sound. And you see that in the first half of Deadweight. They're innovating on the sound. They're just as heavy. In my opinion, some of these songs sound even better than the songs on Blueprints.
Yeah.
And yet you don't lose any of what made Blueprints great in these songs in the first half of Deadweight. So it's possible. They've done it. It's just they've kind of, they've lost their way.
Yeah. But man, there's some good songs on here. Obviously, Stitch, all-timer metalcore track. Like, that main riff is so mean. Like, it just has so much bite to it. And it's so memorable. And then that breakdown at the end where they drop the tuning. Oh my gosh. Just absolutely peak. I remember where I was when I heard that. Like, it was that formative of a song and like in a moment. Unbelievable stuff. And then that straight into, we haven't even talked about it yet, but Witness, that is like maybe the most blueprint song on this album, but I mean that in the best way. Like, it's so good because you get those incredibly bouncy riffs. The way that the heavy and the melodic portions blend together is perfect. The heavy section in the middle of the song that starts with the go breakdown and then leads into the halftime, I'll be a witness breakdown with the dissonant chords. Like, we're breakdown hopping here. We're going breakdown to breakdown. It's so good. Also extremely catchy. I'd pitch a heavy fight for that to be in the top 10. I think that song is awesome. And then Disdain in the back half. We've been slandering the back half a little bit here. Disdain is awesome. Like a short, heavy track that feels. Yeah, it feels very Slipknot. Like Wage War looked at each other and said, what if we did a Slipknot song? Would that be good? The riffs are very Slipknot. The drumming with the fast double kick section is very Slipknot. Like, it just has a lot of that new metal influence. So I guess, again, there's another example of like early signs of new metalcore entering their sound here in that song, but in a way that is like actually really fun and exciting and has energy. That song is awesome. It's so good. Yeah, this album, I feel like I've been kind of nitpicking, the sequelitis and all that. But for many bands, this would easily be their best album because there's so many heavy hitters on here, so many good songs. It's just excellent metalcore.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 All right.
This album is very good. Very, very good.
Very good.
I would say in many ways a very formidable sequel. And if they just kept on this track, we would still be adoring Wage War to this day.
Oh, it's so sad. It's just so sad. Look what Octane took from us.
Well, should we get into it? Number one Wage War album.
Easily.
Their debut, Blueprints.
Look, respectfully, it was never even a question for me.
No, it's like a pantheon of all pantheon metalcore albums. Like,
yep,
of the decade, you could make a pretty airtight argument that this deserves to be a top 3 to top 5 to top ever metalcore album of the 2010s.
Well, and I think part of that is, it's not a groundbreaking album by any means. It's not some experimental metalcore album. Like, this is, I don't even want to say generic, but this is like standard metalcore and maybe the best version of it you could ever hear. It's the blueprint for metalcore at this time. Like, it is just the standard, the control that you can then experiment off of. And you need bands to do this standard metalcore sound. And I don't think I think you could argue that no one has ever done it better than Wage War did it on Blueprints. Like, it is the most peak version of standard metalcore.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is probably why it was so formative. It came out, when we were getting into heavy music, and like, so yeah, like, to us, this is what heavy music could be. And then from there, you can go out in all these different subgenres and new metalcore and mathcore, but the core is this. This is the peak of what metalcore had to offer.
Yeah, and it's funny because like there's not, at least to me, there's pretty clearly not a miss on the album. I mean, we
Nope.
could go through
No,
each song
no.
and talk about why Hollow, Alive, Blueprints, et cetera, are great. But
Yep.
like one of my favorite parts, which I guess would be my favorite part in their discography, is the beginning of Hollow with the haunting like air siren type
Yes.
guitar effects going, and you're just, I mean, how can you not just get shivers down your spine when you hear that, knowing
It's
what
so
you're in for,
exciting. Like,
exactly knowing what you're in for, like that would get that has to get anybody just feeling a type of way, whether it be a
mhm.
way of like, man, I gotta prepare, or just like of pure excitement. Like it's the perfect thing. It's the perfect album to run into a pit during a live show to, right? It's
Oh
just
yeah.
every facet of it hits. Everything flows so well from the intro to the outro. It's
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's consistent. It's punchy throughout. I mean, The River is one of the punchiest, most breakdown laden, heavy, fun, energetic songs I've ever heard. And was certainly probably the song I came back to the most on this album, which probably kind of made me numb to heaviness and made me keep needing more and more heavy songs, which is, kind of how I descended into even heavier and crazier things. But I owe it to this album and The River for that in particular. So this album will always hold a special place in my heart. But
And like The River, you look at the structure of that song. I don't think there's a single section in it that isn't a breakdown or a build up to the next breakdown. Like, it is just 4 minutes of nonstop drop after drop after drop. Each one somehow upping the ante for how heavy this song gets. It is an absolute masterclass in like just momentum driven, breakdown laden, like you said, metalcore. It is peak metalcore, and it also has the cough 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 bleh in it, like, which is
yes,
so funny.
yes.
It's so good, iconic at this point. It's so memorable. Just a ripper of a track.
But that
So
rest in
good.
peace breakdown at the end,
So good.
just unreal. Sometimes I'll skip right to the end just to hear that. It just hits so hard.
It
And
does.
you get a song like Spineless too. It's just
Oh.
2 minutes of just concentrated energy that's just
Mhm.
injected right into a song. And it's amazing. Wage War, they're also able to pull off more melodic, emotional, and arguably important songs like Young Blood, for example.
Yep.
But even though that song's a bit more melodic and atmospheric and emotional, it still maintains its heaviness and it doesn't feel at all discordant from the rest of the album. And it's amazing that they were able to pull that off, I think, so well in a debut. I did always wonder from a kind of structure, album structure perspective, why The River is right after that. But I don't know. It always felt kind of weird to go from Youngblood into The River, where
Yeah.
because Youngblood has such kind of an important story to tell and a beautiful message.
Well, and like it crescendos in a very like emotionally satisfactory way. It could not be more different than The River. But I think you could argue that placement makes the river hit even harder when you listen through the
Oh, it
album.
does.
And I think that may be the intention behind it. It's like, okay, this is the heaviest song on our album. How can we make it the heaviest we can? And then coming right after Youngblood kind of achieves that very well.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Well, but I love it no matter what. Either
For
way, it's
sure.
fantastic. And this album, in my opinion, it's perfect. It's a
Yep.
10 out of 10 album for me because I don't think there is any bad moment on here at all. There's certainly not a bad song, and I don't think there's a bad moment.
I think the one song that maybe I'm not head over heels for.
Is it Enemy?
It is. It is.
Dude, I knew you were going to say
That's
I think we've
crazy.
talked about this before. I couldn't disagree with you more about Enemy. I love
agree.
Enemy so much.
I agree. I love like the turntables at the beginning.
It's
just
so
like
awesome.
it's
Nu
such
metal.
a cool feel. Yeah, like you're wrong about Enemy. That is a great song.
I don't dislike it. It would be the best song on a majority of Wage War albums. Let's be honest. I just think the back half of this album is so just absurdly good that anytime Enemy comes on, I'm like, I think I'd rather just go ahead and skip ahead to Spineless. I like Enemy. It just doesn't capture me in the same way that literally everything else on this album does.
I will say the Enemy chorus, if you're not buying into it, can maybe take away from some of the momentum of the heavy parts of the song.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'll say. But I love the chorus, so it works for me. But I could see why, if that's how you feel, it can maybe put on the brakes just a tad.
Yeah. Last episode, we talked about how good Silent Planet's debut is with The Night God Slept. This, I mean, it's crazy how good this is for a debut, right? Like, I remember when this came out, like, we've been talking about it. It was around the time we were getting into heavier music. But I remember there was like an energy about this album, just like the way people were talking about it. Like it was hot in the streets. Like it really was. And I cannot think of many debut albums that have captured the attention of an entire fan base, of an entire genre like this did when it came out. You know, they started putting out singles for this and people were immediately interested and excited for their debut album. And I think it's easy to see why. Like when you look at this album as a whole, it is one of the best debuts I've ever heard. And like we said, one of the best standard metalcore albums we've ever heard. One of the best metalcore albums we've ever heard. Again, they were never a band that was like trying to flip metalcore upside down, but just they were so good at the popular sound of the time. The vocal performances from both Britton and Cody are so good. The instrumentation is sharp. It sounds amazing. Every single bit of the packaging of this album is perfect. Yeah, we mentioned the intro, we mentioned 21. I think the songs that stand out to me the most, it's that back half. The River, Deadlocked,
Yeah.
Spineless. Like it's just punch after punch, 10 out of 10 after 10 out of 10. And I think arguably one of my favorite songs on here is Basic Hate.
Yeah.
Super aggressive.
That song is bonkers.
It's crazy. The riffs on there are awesome, but also lyrically, you know, you see Wage War getting on that don't use Christianity to spread your hatred wavelength that I was on last episode. And I'm not going to do another sermon on this one, but you know, it's kind of a takedown of the Westboro Baptist version of Christianity. And some of the lyrics on here just get me pumped, you know. If you really knew the God you claim to serve, you should know there's no hate and love. Yes. Yes. You're a plague to the non-believer. Tell them all you're going to burn forever. You cast your stones in my Father's name. There will be hell to pay. That's a lead up to a breakdown. And then he says, may you burn forever. It's like, it just gets me fired up. And, you know, maybe it's not as eloquently put as Silent Planet does it, but I think it's still very effective. And this is the kind of lyricism I need to be hearing from heavy Christian bands out there, especially right now. So anyways, that song is awesome. This album is awesome. So influential for me in my discovery of heavy music. Like this is everything the popular, standard, big blockbuster metalcore should be. And it makes me realize how much I yearn for the era when big popular metalcore bands sounded more like this and less like Bad Omens, less like Sleep Token. Like the modern version of the popular metalcore is just so sleepy to me. Sleepy token to me. And there was a time when popular metalcore sounded like this, and wow, what a special time that was.
Agreed.
It's so good. It's the blueprint.
It's generational. It's one for the ages. For sure.
Yep.
And I hope music historians come back to this album and talk about it with the same reverence that we do right now.
Jeff, what do you mean that you hope music historians?
Jeff,
come
we're
back to it?
here, brother.
We're doing it right now.
It's been 11 years. No.
The music
No, don't
historians
say
are
it.
looking back with reverence. Buddy, I don't know what to tell you. It's us.
We're them.
This came out 11 years ago.
So hard to believe.
I can't believe it.
So hard to believe.
It's
Wow.
so crazy.
But it still holds up to this day, which
It
is
does.
just another point for the album. It sounds great.
It's insane how well this
Really
still
nothing you
sounds,
say bad about it.
or how amazing. No.
Yeah.
The title track, amazing. There's no misses on here. Alive, that guitar solo is so sick. Like, it's just, it puts a smile on my face when I get to talk about this album, when I listen to this album, when I think about this album. I'm like, yeah, that's good stuff. That is peak metalcore. Yeah. Also, I will say, shout out to my mom, because she always supported me and my appreciation for heavy music. She always had a soft spot for Wage War, especially back in the day.
That's crazy.
Isn't that wild?
Like that a mother would be like, hell yeah.
Well, it's so funny because I remember she took me to Warped Tour in 2016, and I remember Wage War was on that year's Warped Tour. And so, they're only playing Blueprints at that time, which was awesome. And she told me she's hanging out in the parents' daycare tent, because it was the middle of summer in Houston, in a parking lot. And at the time, they were opening their sets with Hollow and going into 21. And she's like, I heard the bass from across the NRG Stadium parking lot, and so I had to come see what was going on. And that's just very cool. And she appreciated them a lot as a band, thought they were cool. And we actually ended up seeing them a handful of times around the time that Blueprints and Deadweight were coming out. So it's like the peak era of Wage War. And just shout out to that, because not every mom does that. Not every mom has to show interest in their 16-year-old son's appreciation of heavy music. But she did. And for that, she's the reason this podcast exists, maybe.
Shout out.
Shout out to Mother Discourse.
Yeah.
Anyway, super nostalgic album, if you couldn't tell already. It's just so good.
I love it. I love listening to it. I really enjoyed this month of being able to listen to Wage War.
Same. I think I mostly listened to this album, if I'm being honest.
This and Deadweight, yeah. Same.
Yeah, pretty much. I think I listened to each of the other ones once. And I said, yep, did my homework, and now I can do the good stuff.
Yeah.
Or return to the good stuff, because I do them in chronological order.
Mhm.
So, Jeff, I think it's about time we start wrapping this thing up. So, could you run us through your list from your least favorite to your favorite? And we'll do our shout outs.
Sure. My least favorite Wage War album is their 2024 project, Stigma. In the number 4 spot, Pressure. My number 3 favorite Wage War album is Manic. At the number 2 spot is their 2017 album, Deadweight. And of course, at number 1, their debut, Blueprints.
Peak. Before we close this thing out, we do have our patrons, our diehards. They sent us their rankings for this episode. And so we're going to kick this off with Seth and his ranking. And it is as follows.
Here is my ranking for Wage War's discography. At number 5, Deadweight. Number 4, Blueprints. 3, Stigma. 2, Pressure. And at number 1, Manic.
I think that like, and I feel like Seth's done this before. I do think that he's not being for real, which is fine. A showman at heart, but that is
Welcome to the show.
I think this is. I feel like that's actually kind of a popular take online. Is that list?
Well, and I think it goes back to if you look at Wage War's success over time, they're a pretty popular band still.
Yeah.
Despite how bad their new music is. And so I think it depends on when you got into metalcore. If you were into metalcore, if you got in early on Wage War like we did, getting into heavy music around 2015, you probably prefer the first two. But if you got into metalcore more recently, kind of closer to the Bad Omen Sleep Token era of metalcore, you probably are more inclined to like Manic or Pressure or Stigma, which I do not comprehend personally, but I think Manic's their most streamed album.
It is. I was going to say that. I think it's their most popular album, which makes sense with your theory.
Mm-hmm. I think it has to do with when you got into the genre. I really do. And we're old. We're old heads in the genre.
That's wild because I still feel young at heart.
Young at heart, 4 years strong. Shout out. No, I completely agree. Speechless. I'm going Manic. This next one is from Derek.
My rankings, as usual, from worst to best: Stigma, Manic, Pressure, Blueprints, Deadweight. Even though it's not covered, the Strip Sessions is a top 3 album, and the Johnny Cash strip version might be the best song Wage War has ever written. Cheers, boys.
Is he talking about Johnny Cash stripping again?
Yeah, I don't know why that keeps coming up.
Johnny Cash, the strip version. What?
What are we gonna? Are we gonna be able to post this?
He almost completely stuck my list too. He said he was Sigma. Damn it. Stigma, Manic, Pressure, Blueprints, Deadweight. What a
Sigma.
Yeah. If that album were called Sigma, it would make it a little bit better.
We got Sigma, we got mu-prints, we got oh my gosh, that is criminal.
That was a good list.
And I do respect the dedication to cover the strip sessions. Pause. We did not. This next one is from Nathaniel Pena. Here's his list.
Gentlemen, I've been waiting for this one for a long time. My ranking is 5 Pressure, 4 Stigma, 3 Blueprints, 2 Manic, number 1 Deadweight. Peace out.
I will respect Pressure being last. I'm kind of surprised none of us landed there, to be honest, because it is so soulless and soul-sucking to listen to. Blueprints 3, though. What I think I don't understand is Blueprints 3, Deadweight 1, Manic in between them. I think that's
what
where
I don't understand either.
I think that's where I got lost.
Because you have Deadweight above Blueprints, I could get it. I could
Yeah,
understand
sure.
that, to be honest.
Sure, I could too. I think they're like, there's an evolution in sound enough. So if you were like, yeah, I prefer Deadweight, I'd be like, cool, right era. But Blueprints 3, yeah, interesting. And guys, we have a new diehard patron.
Oh,
Man Socks Jr. Their list is as follows.
All right, Wage War time. Y'all ready for the most predictable album ranking ever? Number 5, we got Stigma. Number 4, Pressure. Number 3, Manic. Number 2, Blueprints. And number 1, gotta be Deadweight.
No. No, you're so close to glory.
the fart after Stigma was a good touch.
It's peak.
The fart sound effect was a nice touch to
It
the
was
list,
it
I
was
will say.
needed. It was needed.
That is some showmanship that I can get behind right there, because There's no better way to say it. Stigma is a fart sound of an album.
Really is.
But like we said just a minute ago, I get Deadweight over Blueprints. If that's the way you want to go, I can respect it, even if we all kind of went, oh, as it happened.
'Cause I thought we were going to have the exact same list. It was so close.
I thought so too. But, so he said the most predictable ranking of all time, and yet threw us for a loop. But actually, I would not be surprised if there were a lot of Deadweight truthers out there, because Stitch is kind of a monumental song for them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much to all our patrons. We appreciate your support very much. And thank you to everyone else for listening to this episode and showing us your support through that. We also appreciate that a lot. So, guys, that's going to do it for our wage war discussion. Come back next month for another episode breaking down, hopefully, a more consistent band. We'll see you on the next one.